We're live. We're talking gold, silver, real estate, and what is it about the recent precious metals rally that is sending us a signal as real estate investors that we don't want to miss? Alfonso Cuadra, thanks for joining me. We're talking, well, you heard me, precious metals and real estate. How do those collate?
All my favorite subjects. Hard assets.
Hard assets.
we
Well,
love
listen,
hard assets, and
we do.
we're actually right here in El Salvador right now. San Salvador, El Salvador, my home country. I was born here, had to leave El Salvador because of a civil war. Was unable to come back. My family was unable to come back because of the gang wars and the drug wars. And now we're safe. I don't know if you know this, but El Salvador has some of the biggest gold deposits in the world. Still haven't access. We don't have the infrastructure to be able to access it, but we have massive gold deposits, and it's interesting because and we've seen this over and over and over. This is not a new story. When we are going through economic downturns, and when there's inflation doing its thing, investors, the smart money always moves towards hard assets. And the allocation right now of precious metals, and the allocation of the wealthiest people in the world right now, they're allocating their wealth, they're allocating their capital towards precious metals and real estate. And we were talking about that just before we went live. It's not about trying to figure out how to the highest return on investment. It's really about preserving your wealth, and how are you going to preserve your wealth. And these guys started some music the second we got it live here, so I hope.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. You're not. The music's not coming through too bad, although it might affect you at year end. But I want to, I just want to interrupt there, just slide in a little bit. Is that you make a really great point. Is we look at what's happening and where the wealthiest not only wealthy individuals, but institutional money, and it's all we're starting to see it really flood into hard assets out of the bond market, by the way, and that's a whole different conversation, but it's an important piece that we don't want to step over. And the point is that money is going into hard assets. And why is that? Why is this big rally in precious metals? Now, gold is considered real money. Silver has two components to it. It's both money and industrial. There is a huge demand and a current shortage of silver, so that's part of it. But the point of all of this, Alfonso, is that what we have to recognize as the signal is that big money's flight to safety is about preserving wealth, preserving capital, and we need to follow that lead. So in other words, as fiat currency, and I've talked about this several times on different podcasts and different shows, but ultimately, as we start to see our fiat currency be devalued, decoupled, we need to get our money placed, some capital. Yes, we need to remain liquid, very, very important, but we need to get our investment capital into stores of value that inflate with and beyond the rate of inflation that is going to hit us even harder than it has already. We're into an inflationary environment. Follow the smart money.
Follow the smart money. Follow the smart money.
To El Salvador, it's interesting that you bring up El Salvador, and Bukele being the guy that Bukele appears to be. I suspect he's going to embrace this whole mining configuration and open up some doors to some mining potential in El Salvador. It's interesting about El Salvador as being a dictatorship, and understanding Bukele is a true dictator, but in the most powerful way. He's there for good, not evil at this point, and seems to be where the direction he's going to go. So that's kind of cool.
Well, this is a misconception, right? Because we're holding elections in 2020, February of 2027. We're holding elections, so he's an elected president, sure. Right? So very much like the rules in Canada, where the same party, as long as the population continues to be on board with their philosophy, ideology,
Yep.
they can continue to be elected. Uh, I think it was 16 years, the longest that a sitting leader has been in power in
Mhm.
Canada. Someone could do,
Mhm.
you could do your research. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's about 16 years, and I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Trudeau, but it was one of, at one point we had a 16-year run in Canada, right? So
Mhm.
the misconception is, oh, okay, dictatorship and
Oh,
all
hey,
that stuff.
listen,
But
we don't need to do politics. We don't need, but I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is, though, and there's another side to this, right? Is the thing is that Bukele was a huge, as one man, he made huge impact and huge change, including putting a political
incredible.
system, bringing it together. Yeah, it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Which is only to say this. So let's go back to really, we talk about gold and silver. It's the instability at a geopolitical, global scale. Money's rushing into precious metals because of the uncertainty. That's all the kind of foundation for part of this discussion, which is a signal to anybody who's paying attention that there is a breakdown in the fundamental system. Now, most of this is global and US, but anybody who thinks that Canada isn't going to be at the effect of that is being really naive. You're listening too much to CBC and Global. I can't stress enough is that we have to pay attention. So, Alfonso, the thing about this is that we've been down this path and through different cycles. Nothing like this that we're really getting into, but we have to see the future as investors. I don't care what we're talking real estate in this conversation. But I mean, I started buying precious metals in 2008. We could start to see some of this breakdown of our monetary system. In 2020, I really got heavy into different investment strategies because of what we could see in the future. So it's all to say this is when boom cycles are happening, there's so much urgency. Everybody's chasing real estate, everybody's chasing deals, and they're really chasing things. It's all driven by emotion. And what we're suggesting is that we look into the future and see where real estate is going, not where it is today. And right now, in a slump cycle, arguably in a recession in many parts of Canada, this is where the opportunities exist. And this is where Wealth Genius and your expertise and your view of the world, I mean, you travel back and forth across not just Canada, but let's just use that for example right now. Canada, the US, you're in it every day. You're in how many different regions? 15 or 20? I mean, you're traveling
I'm
all
all
over.
over. I'm all over the place.
So what
I
we're
hear it's
saying is,
cold over there, by the way.
well, it's not. Listen, I can tell you right now that in the beautiful Fraser Valley of British Columbia, right now it's +9, and there still is no snow this year. Now, having said that, you go to the central Canada, go to Toronto. Well, that's a different conversation today, isn't
Yes.
it? So let's talk about we've got an event coming up in Edmonton, 6, 7, 8, a 3-day boot camp where you're going to pass on your wisdom in terms of how to invest in real estate, in multifamily development, even touching on what's going on in the US. I'm going to come in and talk about what's going on economically. I might even expand a segment and fold in a segment about precious metals and some other things that we're seeing as that market unfolds. So all to say this is that you and we're entrepreneurs, we're capitalists, we're probably some version of libertarians. We see a future, and we also want to share the insights of what we're doing, what we've done, and how to in fact put your capital to work in uncertain times like we're facing today. Is that does that cover it all, Alfonso? Do you
Well,
think
you know
it's
what?
a good representation?
There's never been a better time in history to get involved in real estate than right now. A lot of people are sleeping, and you want them to stay asleep for a while. I don't think it's gonna last. I'm saying the front end of 2026 is where you're gonna find the most amount of opportunity.
Mhm.
And that event in February, 6, 7, 8. Is it
Mhm.
6? Is it 6, 7, 8?
Yep,
Correct.
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. That we're gonna be hosting 3 days intensively in Edmonton, live and in person. By the way, I'm leaving +30 weather to come and join you because that's how important these times are. Or else, I could just stay here. We can do it virtually, but I think we need people's attention. And the
Mm-hmm.
people that aren't paying attention right now are the people that are going to look back at these moments where you see there was an abundance of opportunity, the prices were softening, everything right now is open and available for the people that are paying attention. And at some point in the future, someone is going to ask you, okay? Could be your grandkids, could be, your great grandkids, it could be in 2035, in 2040. Someone will ask you the question, is it true that you were alive during the greatest wealth transfer of human history? And you were around during 2026, at the front end of 2026, where we saw an abundance of opportunity. And what did you do, Grandpa? What did you do? What will you say? And so that's how important this event that we have in Edmonton, specifically the one right here in February that we have at the beginning of the month, that weekend, we are going to pour everything we have. And by the way, Patrick, we've been doing events for now going on 3 years, and I just love working with you. I know there's there's that camaraderie, there's that synergy that happens when we deliver these events. And now more than ever, you got to pay attention, you got to listen up. And I know we have some specials for the people that are listening to this. So
Yeah.
how can they get tickets, and how can they get enroll signed up for this event?
Yeah, I put a link in the description. You can go to the event, click on learn more about the event, and then get registration. If you're clicking on this link, it's I want to say $87, which is
Woo!
I
Oh
think it
my
was like a
God!
497
Oh
event.
my God!
So discounted the crap out of it. So it's going to be a great event, and you're going to learn
Yeah.
a ton, and it's going to be a different perspective. And I think the thing we got to shine a light on here, Alfonso, is that it is a very specific time. When cycles are booming, gosh, you just it seems like you throw money up against the wall. If it sticks, you're good. Those times are different. You have to be very strategic. You understand the regional markets. You got to look and say, okay, where's the cash flow in this? What happens as things get a little bit softer? And can I sustain this? Like, it's very strategic, but the payoff is absolutely going to be epic as we look down the road and to see where things are going. What screws people up, and I think messes with people's head, it's hard to sort through, is the headlines, because all the headlines are doom and gloom, but they don't necessarily quantify it and say, well, we're talking about the pre-construction condo market in Toronto. We're talking about very specific regions and property types. And if you're investing in the right real estate, there's lots of deals out there and there's lots of opportunity. Good news is it's not a race against time. You're not doing necessarily multiple offers. You're just being very strategic, very tactical, and you get to not only preserve wealth, but grow wealth in a big way as we look into the future.
And I think we bring something very special to this event. You're coming from the data. You're bringing the data.
Mm.
You're bringing everything that supports the content.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I love your economic updates, and I love, a lot of people love it. And you got to pay attention to the data. The data is showing you, when
Totally.
you see all the highest net worth individuals in our world moving towards hard assets, allocating
Yeah.
their money towards real estate, precious metals. You have to pay attention. And it's not
Follow the
it's not
money.
just about what the return on investment is the preservation of your wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
it's getting eroded in North America because of inflation. And so, what's happening is a lot of people are just kind of sitting around waiting on the sidelines because they don't know what to do. And meanwhile, they get behind more and more financially. And so we need to stop that. And you got it. Who's ever watching this, by the way, and I'm going to share it through all of my media channels. But ultimately, we're gonna talk about how to optimize, how to maximize all the opportunities that are available right now during the greatest time in history. during the greatest wealth transfer in history, and it's happening right in front of us. And people will go outside and say, "Well, what? I don't see anything happening." But
Mhm.
trust me, it's happening. It's
It's
happening,
happening. Yeah,
and you got to be prepared. It's all about educating yourself. You have to be
it is.
prepared. You have
And
to
I'm
be.
going to, and Alfonso, I am going to put the fun in fundamentals, and I'm talking about the economic fundamentals. And we'll bring the data. You'll bring the real fun, but I'll bring the fun in fundamentals so that we have a foundation. Hey, listen, thanks for your time, folks. If you're watching this, I encourage you to go on the link, join us in Edmonton 6, 7, 8 for a 3-day boot camp where we will show you, guide you, teach you how to put your capital to work in crazy economic times like we're facing today. Alfonso, have fun in El Salvador, my friend.